Philippines' Subic Bay play aims to anchor U.S. naval strategy in Asia. The Philippines is repositioning its historic Subic Bay shipyard as a cornerstone of both its own defense industry and Washington's naval expansion plans, analysts say, at a time of sharpening U.S.-China tensions and with Manila seeking to revitalize its economy. Speaking to business leaders in Washington on Thursday, Philippine ambassador to the U.S. Jose Manuel Romualdez pitched the Aguila Subic shipyard, once a bustling hub for a subsidiary of South Korea's Hanjin Heavy Industries, now under new management, is well placed to support America's plan to ramp up warship production over the next 3 decades. The U.S. wants to increase their shipbuilding industry. It's been sort of on hold for many years, decades, and now they are reviving it, Romualdez said on the sidelines of a meeting of the U.S. ASEAN Business Council, which advocates for the trade interests of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations in the U.S. The revival of Subic Bay, an Indo-Pacific strategic anchor that's changing the map of Asian power. Subic Bay, Zambales. Beneath the gray skies shrouding the deep waters of Subic Bay, the rumble of industry is once again heard, but this time with a far more strategic tone. More than just a commercial port, Subic Bay in 2026 has transformed into the most crucial element in the United States' arc of deterrence in Southeast Asia. 1. Geopolitics. Not a base, but a logistics heart. 34 years after the U.S. military base closed, Washington is returning to Subic with a different approach. Through the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, the U.S. is no longer building a closed military city but is instead integrating itself into the Philippines' infrastructure. The Philippine government under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. cleverly positioned Subic as a security buffer against China's territorial claims in the South China Sea, SCS. Its distance of only about 200 kilometers from Scarborough Shoal makes Subic the most logical point of entry for surveillance operations and rapid response in the event of a crisis. 2. Defense Industrial Revolution. Largest ammunition factory. One of the most surprising developments in 2026 was the realization of plans to build a weapons and ammunition manufacturing center in the Subic area. This move was prompted by the urgent need for the U.S. and its allies to have a forward-deployed weapons supply close to the potential battlefield. Logistics storage. The U.S. Marine Corps, USMC, has operated a 5,300 square meter storage warehouse for non-combat equipment and rotational logistics, Manila Independence. For the Philippines, this factory is the ticket to military modernization, which has so far relied solely on second-hand goods donations. 3. Aguila Subic. A trilateral alliance challenging China's influence. The fate of the giant shipyard formerly managed by Hanjin is now clear. Thanks to a $1.5 billion investment from U.S. equity firm Cerberus Capital Management, the facility is now named Aguila Subic. This is a major diplomatic victory for Washington. Previously, a Chinese state-owned company had its eye on this location, but a trilateral alliance between the U.S., capital, South Korea, Hyundai HD Technology, and the Philippines, labor, secured control. Now, Philippine warships and those of allies like France, Carrier Strike Group Charles de Gaulle, regularly conduct maintenance, MRO, operations here, reinforcing Western operational dominance in these waters. 4. Regional tensions and the target on the Philippines' backs. The return of the U.S. military presence has not been without controversy. Domestically, critics, such as Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Erwin Tulfo, have begun to question whether the facility's presence is painting a target on the backs of the Filipino people. Concerns have grown with global tensions in the Middle East and the Taiwan Strait. However, the Philippine National Security Advisor (NSC) continues to assert that the entire EDCA site remains under Philippine sovereignty and is used solely for defensive purposes and humanitarian assistance. HADR 5. Conclusion. The pawn who is now King, Subic Bay, is no longer just a Cold War memory. It is a living laboratory for a modern military strategy called Distributed Maritime Operations, DMO, dispersing forces to make them difficult to target, yet remaining logistically connected. For the Philippines, it's a trade-off between security protection and economic sovereignty. For the United States, Subic is an anchor that keeps its influence firmly planted in the heart of Asia, ensuring that the Indo-Pacific maritime highway remains open to all but those who seek to monopolize it.